Sometimes, if you listen really hard, you can almost hear it.
Our first ever instant star is...
You're it, girl. You're the real thing.
That moment your life changes.
It's about a girl who is just about to fly off and see the world.
Forever.
Jude Harrison!
Hello and welcome to The Breakdown, an Instant Star Rewatch podcast. As always, I'm joined by my beautiful co-host, Sam.
And I'm with the beautiful, lovely Chloe.
And today we are recapping Instant Star Season 3, Episode 3, Start Me Up. Original air date 23rd of February 2007. Synopsis. Jude has to deal with the aftermath of her breast being shown to the public, just as she learns that not only will Karma be doing a cover of Waste My Time, but that Tommy will be producing her album. And the Start Me Up episode title is based on the 1981 song by the Rolling Stones.
Some Rolling Stones. Love me some Rolling Stones.
What did you think of this episode?
So overall, the episode for me, it's interesting. This is another one that I get a lot more out of it now because I'm older, and this will come up later on as we're talking about the episode. But I get a lot more out of it as a recovering addict. I'm working on 2.5 years. I wish I'm working on 2 years. So you know, we've said many times on this podcast, we catch things and notice things now that we didn't almost 20 years ago. And a lot of things I'm picking up, especially the later half of season 2 and now into season 3, not only am I catching through, you know, the eyes of a almost 38-year-old woman, I'm catching through a recovering addict's eyes also. So
different perspective.
Yes. Kind of, I guess, forewarning, a little PSA. Next couple of episodes are probably going to be very touchy.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, I have mixed opinions about... So I loved episode 1 of season 3, like, it was such a good introduction to the season. But episode 2 last week and then this one, I'm a bit kind of meh about them. But I know that from next episode, next week, it gets pretty heavy, and
Yes.
season 3 kind of kicks off from next week, I would say. These 2 episodes are leading up to what becomes the rest of the season.
I'm glad we got the, like, excitement of episode 1, and then I'm almost thankful that episode 2 and this episode were very filler episodes.
Just a lighter subject.
Yeah, because, I mean, like you said, from episode 4 to pretty much the end of the season, it's just bam, bam, bam.
Yeah, there's some dark topics that they touch on this season.
Yeah.
I guess you kind of need the comedic relief. I mean, this episode wasn't super comedic, but there were moments, you know, Jude and Tommy just having their little tiffs as usual, and
yes,
SME being the great comedic relief that they are.
Yes, being literally like 17-year-old boys. I'm like, thank God Tyler and Ian and I can't think of his name, but I'm like, thank God they can pull it off.
Yes.
Because like Steven was saying in our interview, this a couple of weeks ago, they were all pretty much around like 18, 19, 20, 21 around this time. So,
And I feel like they really represented their age group. Like, you
yeah.
don't feel like they're older boys playing younger. You really feel like they're playing themselves
Yeah.
or their age, you know.
Yes.
Well, let's get into the episode. I think you're doing the recap today.
Jude walks into G Major, but everyone is talking about looking at Boobgate. um,
That's just what we're
then,
calling it now.
yes. And I think on one of the tabloids it literally said like Boobgate. And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, that's the name. um, her and Tommy have a talk about being caught in bad situations with lack of clothing
Yep.
and being caught by fans. Um, then next we see, I love Patsy. We see her screaming into the mic, and apparently she has been for about 12 minutes.
Yep.
And I think, I think Quest at this point is literally like, give me anything I can use out of this 12 minutes. After that, Stuart, random parent alert.
He's suddenly being a parent.
Yes, suddenly dad is being a dad. And Jude, Portia, I guess she's like management of PA, not PA,
PR.
publishers, PR, I guess.
I thought she was styling, but you know, whatever.
I thought she was too. Maybe she's a little bit of everything.
Sure. Why not?
Why not? And they just have a meeting about Jude not being taken advantage of and dishonored, I
Yep.
guess, because of what happened. Um, Jude then goes back to Studio A, thinking Tommy is ready to talk about her new song. But instead, she finds Karma, pulling out Karma's lovely tricks with this smile and the head tilts. And I think we all know what Karma is.
We're going to talk about Karma because my opinion of her has changed rewatching it this time.
Mm. Yeah, mine has too. And so
I
I'm
used to hate
interested
her,
to see.
so
Huh?
I used to hate her when I was younger watching it.
Yes. And
Now I'm
now
like,
I'm kind of like, I'm like, Garn's the boss. She
yeah,
goes after what she wants.
she knows the business and she goes after it.
Yeah. Yep. So Karma and Tommy are talking, and Jude finds out that Tommy is producing Karma, and that they want Karma's first single to be, I'm going to call it Karma's version of Waste My Time. And I'm still wondering why they picked Waste My Time.
Yeah, I think we touched on this in episode 1 of the season, and you made the valid point that, like, Darius is G major now, so he would want a song that was Shay's.
Yeah.
But I feel like if that was the case, they could have brought Shay back and done a really cool R&B
Mm-hmm.
thing with him. I wonder what other Jude song from back in the day would have fit Karma.
Yeah, and that's something I was thinking about watching this. I'm like, is there really any other one that had that kind of like R&B urban? Because even later on in the episode, when she hears Shooting Star, she likes that kind of jazzy
Yeah.
horn sound.
I feel like maybe 24 Hours would have been quite cool. It
Yeah,
wasn't an urban sound, but I feel like you maybe could have made it an urban sound.
tweaked it and
But otherwise, most of season 1 of Jude was quite rock, like pop rock.
yeah.
Mm. interesting. But yeah, Waste My Time, like we both said, it wasn't one of our favorites, so.
And that could be it too. I think I was just with it
However,
not being one of my favorites. I'm like, put the song in a coffin and bury it.
the more I hear Karma's version, the more I like it.
Yes,
I didn't
I'm
like
like,
it.
I much prefer Karma's version
Yeah,
over Alex's. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, Alex.
sorry.
Sorry, Corey wins this one. And I think I got these ones mixed up a little bit, but Jude tells Darius tells Jamie that Patsy needs that Patsy has only been handing in crap, and if she doesn't hand in at least one, not even good song, but a marketable song, soon, they'll turn Jamie a gone. And then we get and I'm trying to really, like, my heart won't let go of Jude and Tommy as a couple. I mean, they will always be my OTP.
Obviously,
But
if you ever change your opinion on that, we're gonna have some problems.
that won't ever change. I'm trying to, like, get past. Right now, I'm seeing everything as, like, manipulation and red flags. And I'm like,
I'm seeing
is Tommy
childishness too.
huh?
I'm seeing childishness as well,
Yes.
like immaturity
Yes.
on both sides.
Yes. But like uh so I put down we have a Johnny moment, and even like when he says, where there's nowhere else I'd rather where I'd rather be any day of the week. I'm like, to me right now, I'm like, that's kind of creepy, dude. She's 17.
It's so interesting because maybe we should talk about this when we go over it again. No, I'll just talk about it now. When I was younger, that line used to get me in my feels. I'd be like, "Oh, that's
Yes, I was like,
such a romantic thing to say." Now, of course, he was saying what she wanted to hear.
yes. Like when I was, 18, 19 watching this, I was like, oh, the older guy, the true love. Of course, that's so sweet, so
No,
romantic. Now I'm like,
dude,
that's manipulation. That is literally telling her what she wants to hear, so you don't come off looking like a jackass.
yep. Oh, Tommy, we're
Oh,
gonna have some problems.
we are. I'm like, how did Tommy go from my favorite like character to now? I'm literally like, we're gonna have problems just the rest of the series, I think, dude.
This season for sure. However, I think by season 4, we do get to see more of Tommy's, like, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna say character development, but we get to see the reason why he's the way he is. And it
Hmm.
explains a lot about him.
Yes. I'm just like, you have to get through the storm.
Yep.
You have to get through it. uh, okay, and then Jude finds out. So she goes to the, I don't want to say clubhouse, but I'm like, wait, that's what Sadie calls it. To the
Rehearsal space.
apartment, the rehearsal space. Yes, thank you. And SME, after teasing her about Boobgate some more, because why not?
I
18
love
year
it.
old boys, 17-year-old boys, and they're like her best friends. Um, Kyle? Yes. No.
Yes.
Yes, Kyle. Okay. Kyle, surprisingly, is the one that tells her that Karma has to ask her permission to re record Waste My Time because of some act of some years.
Yep.
I'm not that smart. I didn't write it down. So there we go. Thank you, Kyle. Quest and Tommy trade digs because they are still pissed at each other.
Everyone's just pissed at
And
each other this episode.
they're all acting like a bunch of grown ass man people.
Yep.
Jamie tries to. Oh, so Jamie and Patsy are now at the train. And Jamie is trying to talk to Patsy about what Darius told him. However, you know, you can tell that Patsy, if she's not drunk, she is well on her way to being drunk.
Yeah.
And at this point, I'm wondering, how long has Patsy been an alcoholic? Because this isn't the first time we've seen Patsy drunk. I mean, the first time we met Patsy,
She was drunk.
she was drunk.
Yeah.
And then Jude and Calmer are back at G Major, and they are in the washroom sharing snide comments because pettiness. Why not?
Yep.
Before Jude finally tells Calmer that she knows Calmer can't record Waste My Time without her permission. And only way Jude is giving it to Calmer is if she gets a new producer. Because Jude's not possessive at all.
No. Not at all.
Calmer agrees. Because, like we said, Calmer's a boss babe and knows the game. Back at the train, a drunk Patsy performs an amazing version of Shooting Star. And now we're at the next morning. Jamie, excited and not hungover, brings a very hungover Patsy and a bottle of aspirin, and I'm going to mess up the coffee order, so we're just going to say a coffee. Jamie, who's clearly used to Patsy in this state, carries on with bringing up how she has to record a new song, and he thinks it should be Shooting Star because she did so great last night. Patsy says that she can't do it there because the place gives her hives. Jamie says that they go to the train and record it. And then Patsy says the whole album thing makes her sick. Jamie, who I think at this point is honestly kind of tired of Patsy's crap,
Yeah.
says maybe it's not the album, maybe it's what she does to herself every night. And Patsy sits there and is like, or maybe it's the company she keeps. And speaking from experience, and something we learn about Patsy later on, is people who are hurting hurt people.
Yep.
And she ends up dumping her hot coffee. To me, it looked like in Jamie's lap, but we know it is at least his leg.
Yeah.
Which I'm gonna keep my comments about what I think about that to myself, because that's making a broad judgment. But
You can say it.
I mean, I personally look at that as that's probably not the first time that Jamie's gotten injured, and therefore it could be looked at as domestic violence. of domestic abuse.
Mm. Yeah, and like we kind of touched on with Stephen when we interviewed him, this when Instant Star was on the air, it was before things like that were really talked about, mental health, domestic abuse, anything like that. So they could touch on these things, but they can't really explore it like you would now if you had a TV show.
Yeah, exactly. And the reason why I think that could have been maybe what they were hinting at. This is kind of something that Steve and I talked about in our season 2 interview. Is I watched Degrassi, and like some of these things, like addiction and like domestic violence, what was covered more in depth on Degrassi. So him and Linda weren't scared to go there.
No.
I think it was more because Degrassi was a little bit bigger and had more of a broader audience. It was more of they had more room to play with.
Yeah, they were.
So maybe,
Degrassi was probably more like One Tree Hill. It focused on a broader range of
yeah,
issues that people go through.
yes, exactly. So, and I think, and I mean, we also got to remember Degrassi Little League was Degrassi Kid. What? Degrassi had like 4 or 5 different series. I mean, it was a huge television series. It started with like Degrassi Street, I think, in the 70s.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I mean, it expanded like generations.
Yeah.
So they had a huge audience.
Yeah.
Where when you look at Instant Star, it was a 4 season, 4 years.
Very short.
That's really, yeah, in comparison.
There's only so much you can talk about within 12 episodes to a season,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Okay. Yeah. I so back to where I was. Tommy finds Jude in the lobby, and you can tell he's pissed. And he starts in about, come on, now not wanting him on the album. And so you'll enjoy this. You got a little sneak peek of this. Tommy, the grown ass man child, throws a temper tantrum and tells Jude he had to beg to be on Karma's album. He wanted to grow. He wanted to try something new, but he guesses that she's the only one who can do that.
And so begins the Jommy tiffs of the season.
Yes. And I really feel like they kicked in really early this season.
Really early this year. From she has a secret daughter, it just continues right off the bat.
Yeah, I'm like, first episode in, we got one going.
Yeah. And they just get worse.
Yeah. I'm like, they at least usually give us like at least one episode of happy drumminess.
Yep. Yeah, it takes most of this season, I think, to get to that point.
Yeah. And then so Jude, Miss Codependent, gets Karma to put him back on the album. So Patsy shows up hammered, hours late for her session, and Jamie gets her to sing Shooting Star. Once she's either left G major or, my opinion, we don't know because we don't see her again. She's passed out somewhere. Quest and Jamie bring in. I thought it was a live band, but it's just like the three like horns and saxophone to finish the song. I guess the music for the song. Um, the next time, the vampire sees Miss Codependent, he's still overreacting by being pissed off at the word because she got him back on the album. Yes, overstep, boundaries crossed.
Yep.
I'm sorry, guys. I do ship Tommy, I promise.
It's just, they will always have just a smidge of toxicity mixed with immaturity in both of them together.
Yes.
They
And
bring
right
it
now
out of each other.
Yes. In some episodes, it's really all I can see. So they literally, Tommy says something. It's one of those back and forth. Tommy ends up saying she's a big orange. She doesn't need him to cut the cord already. And even I was like, oh.
We'll
ow.
talk about that soon.
Oh, well, first Jude asks, what if she's stuck? What if she needs his help? What if she needs, like, his opinion and things like that? And then that's when Tommy says, yeah, Big Garnet, you don't need my help. Cut the cord already. And then I'm like, oh, that one hurt. So Jude and SME lay down what's waiting for on their own in the rehearsal space. Jude presents it to Darius and says she wants a bigger hand in the sound and who produces her third album. And they end up, and Darius has a great line where he's like, man, it seems like nobody can commit to a producer these days.
Yep.
I'm like, I love you, Darius. For some guy who owns a record company, he's literally like, I don't have time for any of your kids' bullshit.
Yeah.
He's like, just make me my money. Then we see Darius, Quest, Patsy, and Jamie listening to Shooting Star. Patsy literally asks, who is that? Karma comes in looking for Tommy and says that the Shooting Star song sounds hot. And I think she said something about, like, that's what she's looking for. Jamie is trying to get Patsy to say something about the song to him, to anybody. And she literally is just like glaring at him as she's walking out.
So sad.
Yeah. Next time we see Patsy, she is drinking at the chain with I can't think of the name of his name. Her ex-boyfriend, I think.
Yeah. Can't remember his name.
I can't either. I wrote down the regulars. But even at some point, they get up and leave her there. And then, of course, they have to wrap it up with that beautiful Johnny scene. Where
yes, they have to make up.
Like, huh?
They have to make up by the end of the episode.
Of course. And I love that Jude's like, I want to bring somebody in to work with you. And Tommy asks who. And she's like, me. And he's like, so what does that make us? Partners? And she's like, well, I can't remember the exact thing because I didn't have time to write it all down. But She's like, well, yeah, that's the closest to what we are, or something like that. And he's like, yeah, or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm
Just
like,
with
and I'm just
Tommy,
like,
they throw the red flags out and then they row you back in.
they do. I'm like, seriously, when I'm halfway out the freaking door on you guys, you have to give me a scene like that.
Yeah. Yeah, this episode was actually really Jommy heavy. Like, let's get into it from the top because as much as I'm not a big fan of this episode, there was a lot of big stuff that
Yeah,
um that influences the rest of the season.
yeah,
So from the top where, the Boobgate magazine is everywhere and she goes to see Tommy, I mean, they're just flirting off the charts. Like,
yeah,
literally said, where did that come from? It seems to have come out of nowhere because we haven't seen them flirting since the last episode of season 2, where he
right.
asked her to dinner. So since then, technically, like a whole year may have passed, like I said,
Yeah,
and now they're suddenly back to flirting like nothing ever happened with a secret daughter. That's
yeah,
just so them, though. Um, and then we have Jude's dad finally getting some parenting in because every now and then
it's
in
about
Instant
time.
Star, the parent needs to get involved. I do actually like her dad making a valid point, she's 17, she shouldn't be exploited. And
Yeah,
Darius literally says, but your daughter is a fox. That's his literal words. I was like, huh?
I'm like that's creepy.
Yeah,
And we'll get into. I don't know if we'll get into it into tonight's into into in this podcast, but I think we've talked in the past about who I ship Darius with.
I think I agree.
And I'm like, so seeing what he says about Jude and then who I ship Darius with, I'm like,
Yeah. I get that he was kind of joking, but also like, no.
eh.
But then we have SME, Speederman's wearing the bra and um
Which
comedic
okay, I
relief.
really want to know. Like some part of me is wondering. I'm like, was that scripted or was that just Tyler like messing around on set?
I
Because I
know.
really feel like that's just Tyler messing around on set between
Yeah.
takes, and they're like, we got to use this.
I feel like we were only 3 episodes into season 3. We've had way more SME this season than we have for a long time, and I'm loving it.
Yes.
And then we go to Patsy, who's spending 12 minutes screaming into a microphone, and Quest knows that what they're making is crap. But Jamie doesn't. He there's a part of him that believes what they're making is good. And he has these blinders on when it comes to Patsy. I feel like with
Mm-hmm.
Jude, he was always trying to shape her into something else. But with
Mm-hmm.
Patsy, he's the exact opposite. He believes in everything she puts out, even if it's trash,
Yeah.
which is an interesting switch between the two relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jude walks in on Tommy and Karma, who, let's be honest, they're flirting because
Yeah.
Tommy is Tommy and he'll flirt with anyone.
Yes.
And
I'm pretty sure Tommy would flirt with a tree
yeah,
if he thought it was a female.
yes.
I mean, let's be honest.
But Jude obviously finds out he's producing Karma, plus waste my time. Is Jude being immature or protective? I mean, this is the first time we've seen Tommy with another woman since Sadie. Like, without Sadie, there wasn't really any other females in the G major sphere.
Mm,
So this is new territory, really.
honestly, I think it boils down to she's terrified.
Yeah. She knows Karma's talented. She knows that Tommy's a big flirt. And she knows that she can't have Tommy yet because she's only 17.
Mm-hmm. And she knows that So I think for me, she knew the thing with Sadie was that she knew, okay, he might like Sadie, but Sadie's a villain. She
Mm,
knew that.
yeah. And also Sadie, even if she didn't like them together, Sadie's her sister. It's, for want of a better term, it keeps it in the family, meaning that
Yeah.
Tommy would still be close to her because he's dating her sister.
Mm-hmm.
If he met someone like Karma, he'd be hypothetically gone, like emotionally speaking. Um,
Yeah.
but on the other hand, I think that Karma would never date someone like Tommy. She is the most business savvy woman on the show this far. She knows that flirting a bit will get her what she wants, and she's using it to her advantage, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. She's
Mm-hmm.
that little bit older to know how to play the game.
Yeah.
And I am loving Karma. Like,
I am too.
she just gets the game of the music business.
Karma, I wish we had more time with Karma.
Yeah, 2 seasons is not enough.
No, I wish we had more of her backstory. Like, I get the feeling, and I don't know, but like, I wonder if Karma didn't go to like college and get some type of music degree.
Yep. She just seems to she's not immature like Jude is. And we relate to
Mhm.
Jude because she's immature. But Karma is threatening because she knows what she wants, she knows the business side of things, and she's gonna not stop till she gets all of what she wants.
Well, and Karma is trained in something, whether it's the business side of it, whether it's vocally, whether it's a
All of
little
it.
bit of both.
Yep.
Karma is trained.
Yeah. Yeah. She gets it. She is I will like Jude will always be my favorite girl, obviously, but watching it in my 30s, I'm like, okay, Karma, I get you.
Yeah. I'm like, I see you.
Yep.
What I thought was like a bitch move is like
Smart.
smart.
Yep. Loving it. But then we hear Darius, or we see Darius hearing Patsy's awful demo, and quite rightly, he says, this is not working. I need one remarkable song. Like, fair enough. He is the businessman. He needs to make money. Meanwhile, Jude and Tommy have their first fight, or I wrote fight slash flirt, because the undertone of all their fights is flirting in a weird way. Like,
Yes.
that's what makes it so kind of messed up. Jude goes to the rehearsal space and SME is still joking around. I love the little poem, Life's a test, but you always do your best.
Yes.
So funny. I literally laughed out loud. I'd forgotten about that.
Yes.
And they tell her that she has rights. She has to give her permission to have Waste My Time recorded. I just love SME scenes. It feels like old school Instant Star. And
Mm-hmm.
I love that we're getting so much of them this season. It's just great.
Mm-hmm.
We have a little Sadie and Quest moment. She hands him some aspirin. I was just like, bleh. Just, I'm not here for this relationship. Uh,
No.
and Quest and Tommy are fighting. And it makes me sad because they have history and they're besties. And they're just letting their egos get in the way of their friendship.
Mm-hmm.
Then we see Jude tell Karma that she needs her permission to record Waste My Time. And Jude offers her the song if she ditches Tommy as producer, which is just so childish. Such a 17-year-old thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, ugh, Jude. And Karma gets it. She's just like, okay, like,
Yeah.
you and Tommy are toxic, whatever, you can have each other.
Yeah.
Um, and then Patsy and Jamie are at the chain, and she sings this incredible song, which obviously is Shooting Star. I mean, what a performance! Like,
Mm-hmm.
what a song and what a performance of it. It's just that made the episode, really, that performance.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously she's hungover the next day and doesn't want to record. And she leaves after pouring her coffee on Jamie. And like you said, I feel like this is not the first time that they have done this hungover back and forth. And again, you're in recovery. I'm also a bit behind you, but I'm coming up a year. And it's interesting to watch these scenes knowing, some of the states that you've personally been in. And on the one hand, you can be thankful that you're not in those places anymore, but I had a lot of empathy for her. And
Yeah.
when we talked to Stephen, he made that really interesting comment about how the season 2 theme for him was your art over commerce, because obviously G Major is a music business,
Mm-hmm.
but people are trying to make art that they're proud of. So in season 2, that was Jude. And in season 3, I feel like that's Patsy. She's talented and she doesn't want to get caught up in the machine of the business. And it's
Yeah.
this dichotomy that she's caught between, because in a way you kind of have to make the money to keep making the art. It's messed up, really.
Mm-hmm.
But also, are Jamie and Patsy going downhill too fast? I forgot how quickly the downhill happens, From next episode, we're there. Like it's happening. And I feel like it's just very sudden.
I think so. The thing that I am, I don't want to say I'm getting the most out of, like, in a positive way. So I haven't ever loved an addict or an alcoholic. I've been the addict that was loved, and now I've seen what it's done to the people who loved me. But I won't ever know what it was like to love an addict.
I
If
I
that makes
have loved one, and yeah, it's a struggle. It's a struggle
sense.
when you sort yourself out,
Yeah.
and they haven't yet, or they won't.
Yeah.
So yeah, I relate to Patsy. I relate to Jamie a lot. Um, I mean, I see both sides because I've been the person with problems, but I've also loved a person with more problems.
Yeah. So I think, as much as my heart, and I emphasize whatever with Patsy, because no, mine wasn't alcohol, mine was something else. And I've been to that point. I also am in the same boat with Jamie. I'm like, my heart breaks for him. And I'm like, I get what that's like.
Yeah.
Um,
I
well,
think sorry, you finish.
I don't get it. I can understand the concept of that.
Yeah, and I think this, even before we get to next episode and the episode after, which are big Jamie episodes, even before that, in my opinion, this episode shows how much Jamie loves Patsy. I would
Yeah,
argue more than he ever loved or will love Jude.
yeah,
Because when you love someone that much, you're not trying, you can't change them. He was always trying to change Jude to be something different. With Patsy, he's
hmm,
just trying to show her how much talent she has. I feel like he never really did that with Jude. Maybe I'm wrong.
yeah. And there's a point when the person who's in the addiction knows, okay, they've reached their limit, and there's a point when the one doing the loving is okay. I've reached my limit. I can't do anything else.
Yeah.
And I honestly think that that's at the point where Jamie is.
Yeah. And that can always backfire like it does. And the next few episodes are going to be so heavy, I think, for both of us, because we'll be
Yeah.
watching it from a whole new lens that we never had all those years ago. It's going to be,
Yeah.
oh my God, I can already feel that it's going to be tough. But I don't know. I feel like they had to maybe speed up the downfall
Yeah.
because obviously, they've only got 12, 13 episodes a season, but it just feels very sudden. Like Patsy's always been drinking for as long as we've known her, but it was always like fun, bit of fun. Now it seems to just be kind of full on downfall,
Hmm.
and it just feels a bit intense all of a sudden. But
I think that's because maybe the pressure from that Darius laid on Jamie in
true.
this episode, I think that was the stressor. I think the pressure that was put on Jamie trickled down to Patsy, and that was the stressor that set her over the edge.
And also, can we touch on the fact that Jamie is also only 17?
Yeah.
Why is a grown man like Darius putting that much pressure on a kid to get
Why are
the
any
next
of
big hit?
these yeah, why are any of these 17-year-old kids like working the way they do in the record label?
Like, how is a 17-year-old? Isn't Jamie like an A&R rep, or he was?
Yeah.
You couldn't be an A&R rep at 17. It just wouldn't happen.
No.
Darius is asking a child to find the next big thing for G Major in his girlfriend, which is also like kind of
I think
crossing
Patsy
boundaries.
might be older than Karma.
Yeah, maybe. Did they
Or
even?
Karma's age.
They might say her age in the next few episodes. I can't remember.
I can't remember.
But
But
yeah,
I know she's older than Jamie. I always thought that Patsy was like 24, 25. I thought she was quite a few years older than Jamie.
yeah, I thought like 22, 23, because that's still a. I thought she was kind of like Tommy's age-ish.
Yeah.
But why is the head of G Major making a child? Like, why is
Yeah.
he putting that much pressure on a 17-year-old?
Exactly.
It's different for him putting pressure on Jude. She's a signed artist.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. It's messy.
Maybe we should, next time we talk to Steven for season 3, can we be like, so do child labor laws mean nothing in Canada?
Yeah. Yeah, I've never really realized that before. Like, wow. Oh, but then we go back to Tommy and Jude, and Tommy is pissed that she took him off Karma's album. I actually get his point of view. He wants to grow in producing different types of music,
Mm-hmm.
and Jude is being very possessive.
Yes.
But he was being very manipulative by saying that there was nowhere he'd rather be than with Jude. And this is
Yes.
the constant back and forth of their relationship. It's
Yes.
just, yeah. So then Jude says to Karma, take Tommy back as your producer. And they do that cover shoot together, which was actually really fun. I loved that.
Yes.
Karma's just becoming one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
Then we see Patsy come back to G Major, and Jamie convinces her to record Shooting Star. And this is where I just get really sad for her because you can tell that she puts so much trust in Jamie to let her record a very personal song for her, and
Yeah.
he just ruins it with the jazz or band or whoever they are. Like it sounded like a hit song as she sang it at the chain, and he should have just kept it that way. And
Mm-hmm.
he got sucked into the machine side of things and took it too far.
Yes.
And then Tommy and Jude fight again because he's back on Karma's album. And he says, I don't need your help. There's so much in this argument that they have. He says he doesn't need her help, but Jude says, well, I need your help. And Tommy says, cut the cord, which is, that's such a manipulative thing to do when you've reeled her in. And then you're like, actually, no,
Mm-hmm.
cut the cord.
Yeah.
And Tommy says, you don't need rescuing. And Jude says, no, I don't, but maybe I'm sick of you leaving me alone. There's so much, there's
There's
so
so
much
much
unsaid.
said, but yeah, there's so much said, but so much left unsaid.
Yeah. But then Jude records her demo of Worth Waiting For on her own with the band. And I actually loved this scene. I'm not a big fan of the song, but the scene reminded me of when she recorded
Um,
Not Standing Alone in the rehearsal space.
yes.
And I love how they write the song on the walls and everything. It was just
Hmm.
there's a freedom to this song because Tommy isn't there.
Yes.
And she shows the demo to Darius and says, I want to find a co-producer. And then we see Darius here shooting star. He loves it, Patsy hates it, and she storms off and gets drunk. And I just feel like this is heartbreaking because she's so upset that Jamie ruined who she is, because who she is so tied to her sound of her music.
Hmm.
And by destroying the sound of her music, he kind of destroyed her because they're
Yeah.
intrinsically linked. And one of my favorite quotes from the whole episode is that scene at the bar where everyone leaves. And her ex says, what happened to your boy toy? And she says, I don't know. And the
Yeah.
camera pans out, she's just on her own drinking. There's like those three words, I don't know. Like, wow, that's really heavy.
Yeah.
And then, just to end the episode a bit lighter, Jude and Tommy make up. And I love that he says, actually, we didn't need your permission at all to record Waste My Time. Um, and Jude says, well, whatever, I'm over it because I'm 17 and the immaturity's past. P.S. I want to co-produce my next record with you. And I'm actually
Yes.
glad that Jude showed herself to be the producer. One, because we
Hmm.
get some really good Jommy scenes coming up. But two,
Yes.
she knows her sound and she knows that they work well together. So that was the episode. There's a lot of heaviness when you get into it.
Yeah.
What was your theme for the episode?
My theme, I think a lot of people, when I first say this, are going to be like, huh? But my theme was addiction. And I don't just mean Patsy. I mean addiction in Patsy. I mean addiction in Patsy and Jamie. I mean addiction in Jude and Tommy. I mean addiction in Darius and Jamie.
And
I mean
Jamie.
addiction in Darius. I mean addiction in Jamie.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, because addiction is it can mean so many things.
yeah, I mean, you don't have to be addicted to alcohol or drugs or sex. I mean, you can be addicted to money. You can be addicted to power. You can be
Fame,
addicted to fame,
love. Yeah.
love. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a good theme. I had boundaries because it just seems that everybody this episode crosses each other's boundaries.
yeah,
Oh, yeah, that episode was actually heavier than I thought.
yeah.
Okay, our song review. So we actually heard two songs, Worth Waiting For by Jude. Just as a backstory for people who don't know, the season 3 and season 4 soundtracks of Instant Star, Alex had just signed her big recording contract with Epic Records at this point. And part of her recording contract to sing or to record her first album with Epic, it was somehow built into that contract that she couldn't record the full Instant Stars soundtracks anymore. And as a side note, that pisses me off because we didn't even get to
Yes.
hear that Epic record in the end. They shelved it, and Alex wasn't allowed to sing the full Instant Star soundtracks, and it makes me mad
Stupid.
because they controlled her so much. and then didn't even put an amazing album out. But side note, aside from that, because of that, a lot of the full versions of the songs we're going to hear this season, we'll hear Jude's version in the episode, and then on the soundtrack, you will hear someone else sing it. Sometimes it's SME, sometimes it's Corey Lee, Karma, sometimes it's the songwriters who wrote the songs.
We hear a lot of is it
Daphne Doyle.
behind? Yes,
Yes, I actually love her voice.
yes.
So I thought she sang the full version of Worth Waiting For, but you let me know that Tyler Kite actually sang the full version. So our song review for Worth Waiting For is going to be for Jude's performance of the song in the episode, but then we'll touch on Tyler's version too. So how many instant stars out of 10 did you give Jude's version of Worth Waiting For?
I gave her 7.
Oh, I feel like I scored really low.
That was like my high one. In the episode, I gave it. Well, I had written down 5, but the more we talked about it, that's when I gave it 6. But I would probably give it 5 because I personally like Tyler's better.
I gave it a 4, which seems really low now. The song
No, I would go with a 5 or a 4.
the song
overall.
reminds me of Anyone But You, which I was never a fan of.
Yeah.
It's very rough. Like, I'm talking Alex's version. It's very rough because it's a demo, so obviously it's gonna be. I don't get. So normally a song is very intrinsically linked to what the episode is about. But in the song, she's saying, it's either it or he was worth waiting for. But in my opinion, that doesn't quite fit this episode because who is like what or who was worth waiting for? We don't really know by the end of the episode. It just doesn't quite fit in my brain.
Mm-hmm.
But I do like Tyler's version. I love Tyler's voice, and I love
Yes.
that we get to hear more of him singing this season.
Yeah.
But I do like in the episode the song matches the freedom that Jude has when she's not
Mm-hmm.
with Tommy as producer.
Yeah.
So they're in the rehearsal space, they're writing the lyrics on the walls. It's just there's a freedom to the song.
Yeah.
And I love that.
I was gonna say it feels like a very in the episode. It feels the spirit of the song feels very like a 17-year-old like
Yes.
theme song, and it's supposed to be 17-year-olds writing the song, hanging out with 17-year-old friends, and
Yeah.
so that I get.
Yeah, and I love the lyric, we got lost along the way, but we got here in the end.
Yeah, like that's probably my favorite lyric.
Yeah, it's good. But then we also hear Shooting Star, which is one of my all-time favorite songs from this show.
Yes,
I gave it 8 out of 10.
I gave it an 8 out of 10.
The performance at the chain, I don't know, like it was perfect.
Yeah.
And my favorite lyric is turn to dust in the atmosphere, don't you blink, I might disappear. Like, just such a Patsy lyric, and it's has a sadness to it when you know what's to come.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's some good songs this season.
Yeah.
Actually, the whole soundtrack I love. I wish we could have heard Alex's full versions of all of them. There's some songs this season where I'm still bummed that we don't have the full Alex versions.
Oh,
Yep. But we're not going to ask Steven because we've already asked him and he told us.
yes.
I can't remember why.
We
He doesn't own the
Yes.
rights or something anymore, so that's not up to him.
we have asked. I think we asked in season 1. We asked in season 2.
You
He's
can go
like-
back and hear the interviews with him.
Yes.
Did you have any what the fuck moments?
I didn't for this episode.
I only had one at the beginning where Jude goes to see Tommy and he's reading the Boobgate magazine, and they're they're sharing stories of like Tommy waking up naked in strawberry fields or whatever, and she calls him a prevert, which
Oh yeah, why wasn't it pervert?
it's obviously pervert, but why is it prevert? Is it like, was it a network thing, or was it a weird, like, maybe they thought Jude wouldn't say pervert?
No idea.
I was like, what is a prevert? Seriously.
Abby, that hurts.
What is she doing?
She's getting anxious because it's thunder in here.
Oh, we're nearly done.
Yeah, we're
Actually,
almost done. She's
we're not
okay.
really, but
She's okay.
what were your favorite quotes?
Um, oh, what did I have? Well, you go ahead and read yours because I'm trying to find where I wrote mine down and I
Okay,
can't.
so mine were, although it's a bit red flaggy, you know where I'd rather be any day of the week. Because the 17-year-old version of me that is still somewhere in there still had a little reaction to it, even though the
Yes.
30 plus version of me is like, dude, chill out.
Yeah.
Um, Tommy says, so we'd be partners, and Jude says, it seems about time, don't you think? And then my all-time favorite, what happened to your boy toy? I don't know. It's just, that breaks my heart every time.
Yes.
Those are mine.
Yep. Those same ones.
You agree? Oh, there's just so
Yeah.
much weight to that Patsy one. Just can't stop thinking about it. Okay, out of 10,
Yeah,
how
I
many?
mean,
Oh, sorry.
like even without the whole "what happened to your boy" toy, just the I don't know.
I don't
I
know.
mean,
Yeah.
they could have asked her anything before that, and just the tone, how she said it, the
Yeah.
look on her face.
And it's the
I'm
fact
like,
that she's just kind of in the room alone, like
yeah,
she's wondering too. She doesn't know what happened to him. Like,
yeah,
yeah. And this begins the huge character development for Jamie too, for better or for worse. I'm not sure how I feel
yeah.
about it yet.
Like I really don't think Jamie was ever the same. I think Jamie grew up because of Patsy, and I think Jamie was never the same because of Patsy.
I feel like he probably is one of the characters who has the most character development out of the whole 4 seasons.
Yeah.
Like, he seems a world away now from the geeky season 1 Jamie,
Oh yeah.
who didn't feel cool enough to be at the pool party at Darius's house. Like,
Yep.
doesn't even seem like the same person.
Yeah.
And knowing where he gets to by the end of season 4, yeah, I agree. The whole Patsy thing that happens changes him. And yeah, like, amazing acting by Chris Turner. Like,
Oh yeah.
yeah. Well, that was the episode. How many instant stars out of 10 did you give it? I gave it 4. I didn't like it that much.
Yeah, I would have to give it like the actual like if I sat down and just watched the episode without deep diving into it, it would be a 5. But like sitting down and talking and like what we do, I would probably give it a 7, but that's because we get like deeper into how we do.
Yeah.
But sitting down and watching it, I would easily give it a 4 or 5.
Knowing the episodes that are to come and the quality of them, or at least I haven't watched them for a decade, but from memory, knowing what's to come, it sets up a lot of stuff this episode, but
It's a good starting place.
yeah, there's a lot that's kind of itty bitty in it that I wasn't a big fan of.
Yeah.
But that was our recap of episode 3 of season 3. This season's about to get very, very heavy, and I don't know if I'm ready for it. I really probably should have enjoyed the last 2 episodes more, knowing the depth that is to come for the next,
Yes.
10 episodes. But that was our recap. Stay tuned later in the week for our mini recap. And yeah, we're ready to hit the ground running with the rest of season 3. I'm kind of scared.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot to come. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, thank you as always for listening. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.
Thank you for listening to The Breakdown, an Instant Star Rewatch podcast. The Breakdown was produced by me, Chloe, and Neon Network Production. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and listen to all episodes of The Breakdown on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. See you next time.